Hello and welcome to Stender Painting. I'm your host, Jimmy Stender. In this video I'll be painting this Tyranid Termagant, which I will be painting using primarily contrast paints. It is quick, it is easy, and it will look great on the battlefield. So grab your brush and let's get painting. I would like to begin by painting all the flesh on the miniature, and for that I'm using 2 parts Briar Queen Chill and 1 part Contrast Medium. So I'm taking 4 drops of this contrast onto my palette. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Clean my brush. And then 2 drops of Contrast Medium. And then mix it well together. And then it's just about applying it all over the skin or flesh. Be careful not to hit the carapace of the miniature. I've given the contrast plenty of time to dry. If you feel like it's too bright, you can always add another layer or drop the contrast medium altogether, but I'm going to keep it like this. Next, I would like to add a highlight, and I'm using Palette Witch Flesh. I'll take 1 drop of this, and I want to thin it down very much, so I'm taking 3 drops of water. Then it's just all about finding the raised areas and apply this, well, almost glaze to it. Such as the tail here, for instance. Like so. Then just go around the model and find all the raised areas and highlight them. And with that, the skin is almost complete. There's only 1 step left to do, and that is to add some Agrax Earthshade. This is for the inside of the mouth and any holes and deep crevices on the model. So I'm using a fine detailed brush here and, as I said, apply it to the inside of the mouth. And also any holes and crevices you find on the model, such as right here, for instance. And with that, the skin is complete. Now it's time to paint the carapace of the miniature, and for that we're going to mix some paints. We're taking 3 parts Storm Fiend, 2 parts Croxic or Scales, and 2 parts Contrast Medium, and mix it on the palette. 1, 2, 3, and then 2 parts Croxic or Scales, 1 and 2. And finally 2 parts Contrast Medium, and mix it all together. And then we are ready to paint. We're just going to apply this all over the carapace, but be careful not to hit the skin we've painted before. You might want to switch to a smaller brush when you get to the details close to the skin. If you wish, you can leave the carapace like this. It's a cool color, no pun intended. But I'm going to add a few highlights to really make it pop. And the first highlight slash layer is Termagant blue. I'm going to take 1 drop of this to 3 drops of water. The mix is ready, and first and foremost I'm going to make some highlights at all the raised areas, such as here for example. But I'm also going to layer it. Let me show you. Here for example, I'm going to highlight it, but also paint a little bit inwards. Just a little bit. This is time consuming, but as I said, it is completely optional. I just think it will look really good. Like so. The effect is subtle, but it is there. But I want to take it a notch further, and this time I'm adding a true highlight of Baroth blue, mixed in equal 1-to-1 mix with water. Then once more, go around the model and apply some highlights to the most raised areas. It will really make it pop on the battlefield. The highlight is dry, and I also decided to paint the hoofs of the miniature in the same recipe. There's one final highlight I would like to make, and that is with blue horror, but that is only for the most extreme edges and raised areas. I'm going to mix this with 1 drop of water. Here we go. As I said, only the most raised and defined areas. I'm using the side of my brush for much better control. And with that highlight, the carapace is complete. Next is his tongue and his gun. And for that I'm using a 1-to-1 mix of Fire Slayer flesh and Magos purple, straight from the pot. And just mix them on your palette. And then apply it all over the tongue. And also all over the gun, but be careful not to hit the carapace of the skin. This should make it really stand out from the rest of the model. When the paint is dry, it's time to add a little highlight, and I'm using Buckman's Glow to give it a more fleshy feel. You should always thin your paint, so I'm mixing it with a little bit of water. Once again, I'll begin with the tongue, and I'm using the side of my brush for better control. And then do the same with the gun at all the raised areas. The gun and the tongue is now painted. Next are the claws in this miniature. There are the big ones here on the side, and there's also some small ones on his hind legs. So watch out for that. I'm starting with a base coat of Corax White, and as always, thin your paints. And then it's just about blocking it all in. Just be careful not to hit the skin, of course. Do this on all the horns. I mean claws. When the Corax White is dry, we are ready to add some contrast paints. And I'm using 3 parts medium, 1 part Apothecary White and 1 part Basilicum Grey. Mix that on your palette. With the contrast paints mixed, we are ready to paint. Just cover the entirety of the claw. When the contrast paint is dry, it's time to add our first highlight, and I'm using Grey Seer. And as always, I'm going to thin this with some water. And then, using the side of my brush, I'm going to go across the raised areas and sharp edges, such as right here. And for our final highlight, I'm using Ulthuan Grey. Once more, I'm using the side of my brush, and it's only on the very tip of the claw. Next up are the teeth of the model, and for this I'm using Black Templar straight from the pot. Just gently go across the teeth and make sure it runs down into the recesses as well. The contrast paint should dry pretty quickly. So next I'm going to take some of the Ulthuan Grey I still have wet on my palette. I'm using the finest brush I have. And then apply a few highlights to the teeth. Just carefully pick out each teeth with this brush. And finally we're going to paint the eyes of the model. I'm using Wild Rider Red. Now when painting the eyes it might seem daunting at first, but use your smallest brush, sit comfortably and make sure you brace yourself and just slowly put the brush in and block in the eye. But first we need some paint, of course. And thin it with water. And here we go. Wish me luck. Also remember there is an eye on the gun, paint that as well. And when you're done, the model is complete. Of course we need to make the base, but I'm not going to show how to do that here, because you probably want to make sure your base looks like the rest of your army. So I'm going for a winter themed base. You can do whatever you want, of course. Our winter themed Tyranid is ready to be placed on the gaming table. When it comes to contrast paints, don't fear mixing different variants together to come up with your own awesome color schemes. I hope you found this tutorial useful, and also, if you like what you saw and want to see more, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps. With that said, thank you for watching and happy painting!
We'll be right back.